Okay, I'm really excited tonight to be able to bring my first PowerShell video to you guys. Hopefully this is going to end up being a series, but I don't know how much time I'm going to have. I'm getting a lot of requests, and one of the requests I put on myself is to start doing PowerShell. Now, one of the reasons that I'm doing PowerShell here is because Katmai comes with PowerShell, and it's going to eventually probably replace SQL command and maybe even SMO. Who knows, right? So, with PowerShell being the new best thing, I think it's a good Katmai RC0 being here and the release being very imminent. I think it's a pretty good thing to start doing some PowerShell videos. Now, I'm going to start from ground zero here, assuming that you don't really know anything about PowerShell, and I've never really taught PowerShell. So if I jump around a little bit, bear with me a little bit. So from the beginning, PowerShell is Microsoft's new scripting language, and basically what it does is it answers a lot of the questions that it answers a lot of the problems that we've had in Windows scripting in the past versus, say, like Unix or Linux scripting, right, where they've had a very, very rich scripting language at their command line, and we really haven't. We've had VB script, that it's really not very rich. There's really not a lot you can do with it, and what you can do with it has been kind of built in after the fact, right? A lot of com calls and stuff that make things really, really difficult to work with. So Microsoft has built PowerShell, clearly from the ground up. It's written in .NET, so it's fully object oriented. It's fully .NET aware. It's it's everything it should be. It's everything VBScript should have been, and it doesn't come on your computer by default. Now, what it does, it comes on Server 08 by default, and Katmai will install it. But if you just want to download your workstation, if you just want to put PowerShell on your workstation, on your XP box, or on your Vista box, or on any of your servers, you're going to have to download it. So, that's a good place to start. So let's go ahead and say Microsoft.com/PowerShell, and then here you can clearly this is all of your PowerShell resources, right? And the best place to go here is download PowerShell 1.0, and 2.0 is about to come out. It's in CTP right now, and I don't really have much visibility into when it's coming out, but it's in version 2, and it's in a decent CTP, so it's getting there, right? So you just follow the download links. You come here, you can pick which one. Don't download this on anything other than Vista because it won't be able to read it. So you have here your the one for your workstation and the one for your servers, and then you can just follow those links and install it. It's a really, really quick install. It installs in the package itself installs in like a minute tops, and it doesn't require a reboot, and you can do it on a busy server. It's just it just drops a few things out there. It's no big deal, right? So once you do get it, what you want to do is you want to fire it up, and it'll be under the program menu. My recording screen isn't that big right now, so I can't show you my program menu, but it'll be under Windows PowerShell. Is it Windows PowerShell? Let me see. Yeah, it's under Windows PowerShell. So once you do it, you'll load it up, and it'll look like this. It just brings you up to a command prompt. Now, PowerShell, and I'm going to keep this kind of short. I'm not going to do a full-blown beginner version or your beginner tutorial. I'm going to give you a few nuggets here, a few nuggets there. I'm going to give you a basic overall of PowerShell right now, and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot some smaller videos that are more task-based that will allow you to pretty much snipe the knowledge that you want instead of having to listen to me ramble on for 45 minutes hoping I'm going to say the one thing that you want me to say, right? So this is just going to be a general overview. So basically the way they've built this is they've built it in a way that you can work with it a lot like you can in DOS. Okay? You've got commandlets that do certain things, and commandlets. You know, if I had to give a commandlet, some kind of analogy, some kind of metaphor that you're used to, I would say that they were small functions or subroutines. If you're already a coder, you know what I'm talking about, right? So they're functions. They return something. You call it and it returns something. So let's talk about basic navigation first, okay? They've built in some aliases, okay? And you can do things like directory. I can get a directory structure. Okay, that's pretty easy. I can traverse directories, so I can say cd ... and I can go up a level. Now the thing is you notice in DOS you have to say cd ... right? That means go up a level, or cd whack, right? But you can't do that in PowerShell because CD is actually an alias, and I'm gonna talk about aliases more in detail in another video. Remember, this is just going to be a high-level overview, and the parameter that you're passing to CD is ... Okay, so I could just as easily say CD :/. What's a directory on C? Let's just say I can go back there. Oops. Oh, I see. Okay, I think I'm forming this slightly wrong. Let me see what I got. Space. There we go. Okay, so I just had to put that in quotes because of the period, right? Okay, so just as easily, or just as well as I do that, I could say cd public . Oh, sorry, that was the last directory. Ha. There we go. Okay, so if I could pull up, if I could ask for the right folder, that would help, right? Okay, so just like I say, let me go up one. There we go. So you notice how CD, I passed the parameter of music, right? So just the same as when I go up a level, I have to pass it the parameter of one of these guys, right? So you have to put a space there because it's actually a parameter. It's not a DOS command. It's actually a parameter. So what do I mean when I say that commandlets are objects? Well, let me show you one of the easiest things to understand, one of the easiest commandlets to call, and that's called get service. And I just got a list of services on my box, right? So you can see just by simply calling get service, I was able to get everything. Now, that's not to say that. Oh, let me start here. Everything is a verb. Everything you want is going to be get. Okay, so you can call WMI objects just as easily if I say get WMI object and say 132. I don't think 132 volume is on my Vista box. Well, let me see. Let me find out. Ah, there you go. So now I'm getting disk information, right? So this is all the information about the drives on my server. Now that's not very useful, is it, right? And this just being an overview, I'm going to show you a bunch of things, and then I'll go back in the other videos and teach it to you, right? So just like in DOS, when you pipe something to more or pipe something to a text file, you pipe things in PowerShell. So I can take this 132 object, right, and I can format it as a table, right? And let me just take name And what would be another good one? Free space. Name and free space. So now you can see that I've got my name in free space. And let me add another parameter here to make this a little bit easier to see. The auto size parameter. Now that's a little bit better, right? So you can actually do something with that. And look, it wasn't complicated, right? That's a hell of a lot easier of a WMI call than you would make from VB script, right? But the thing is it's the same for everything, right? If I say get service, okay, I can get all the services. If I want to filter the services for, let's say, let's just do something like that, right? I get all the services that have a T in them, right? Or all the services that are win management. Right, so I get the win management service. Now, there are richer filtering capabilities, okay? I'm just showing you the basic one that you can pass in as a parameter. If I wanted to get everything that had a web, right, everything that was web related, I get the web client. I thought there might be more than that. Oh, here's a good one. This will give me more. Everything that has SQL in the title. There you go. So now I can get all of my SQL services. And so everything in PowerShell, everything you want to do is a verb, and it's going to say get, right? Now there are other verbs as well, and there are lots of commandlets, and third-party vendors are starting to write some commandlets. So the things you can do with this are just so incredibly vast. There are just so many things you can do with this, and it makes things so much easier because everything, I mean, what would it take in VB script to call the WMI object and get a list of services from your box, right? I mean, it would take something, wouldn't it? And to get them here is absolutely nothing. It's you know, just a few characters really to list every single one of the services. Now, if you want to actually do something with those, you have to start doing some more. But you know, in a nutshell, you know, PowerShell is going to give you a lot of flexibility. It's going to give you a lot of power, and it's going to be very, very easy to write. Now, of course, it's a scripting language, and it's got its nuances and everything too, right? I mean, everything that you want to do, you know, you're going to have to learn how to do, and there are going to be some tricks to it. You know, a few of them I've learned, and I'm not a PowerShell expert by any means, right? I mean, I know a few good things about PowerShell, and I've been learning more and more and more. But you know, I'm not an expert by any means. I'm not on the PowerShell team, and I haven't, you know, been going through all the betas and been rewriting all of my code in PowerShell. But you know, I know a fair amount. And for those of you that don't know anything about PowerShell, you know, I suppose I am a god, right? But you know, for those of you that don't know anything at all about PowerShell, you know, this will be a good introduction. I think, you know, this first video is kind of choppy. You know, I don't think I'm doing a fabulous job on it because I haven't, you know, it's not a solid topic. It's just kind of an overview. It's going to be much easier when I get into the solid topics and I start showing you, you know, specific things. That's going to be much easier to talk about than it is to just give you this overall view, right? I'm going to leave you with one more thing, and that's going to be aliases. Now, I mentioned before that it has aliases and it uses aliases, right? So if I were to say something like, okay, CD that we were using before for change directory from DOS is an alias, and you can see right here, it's an alias, its name is CD, and its definition is set location. So when you type CD, it's actually calling set location. And you can call set location. I mean, there's nothing that says you can't, right? Just that they wanted to give you the general feel of the commands that you are already working with. And if you're a Unix guy and you're used to the Unix aliases, then by all means you can create your own aliases and you can set them up to be exactly like the Unix aliases, and that's just for this box, right? But you can import them and export them, and you can put them on every single. You can import your aliases on every single box that you have in your environment, and then you'll be at home wherever you are, right? So just like directory, just like dir, let me go ahead and just do that. Dir is an alias for get child item. But you could easily say, if I come here and say dir, I get that. Get child item, and I get the exact same thing. So I can use the alias or not, or I could, delete dir as an alias and put my own on there, right? And we'll talk about that when we go through the alias section, which will probably be one of the first sections I do. But I just wanted you to get a feel for this, for how this worked, right? Especially, where are you? Come on, there you go. For change directory, that's why when I say cd space ... I go up, right? If I do that again, I won't go anywhere. There you go. But let's say dir here. Let's say NVIDIA. Oh. NVIDIA. Okay, there we go. So cd NVIDIA. But you notice how NVIDIA is a parameter for CD, right? Just the same as I could say, actually, let me go back here. Just the same as I could say set location NVIDIA, and I get the exact same thing, right? And then get child item. That's not very friendly. That's much more friendly. That's why they did it, right? And so, you can create aliases, you can delete aliases, and you can find out the definition of the aliases. If you want to know what it's calling in the background, you just call get alias and pass it the alias name, and it'll show you what alias it's running. Now, what real advantage do you have to using the aliases over using the definitions, or vice versa, right? Well, in short, and I'm stepping on the toes of the alias video just a little bit, but in short, I would think, and you probably won't run into this very often, but using the definition, using the full commandlet name over here, would help you in scripting if you want to protect against moving the script to another box and having had somebody delete the aliases that come with PowerShell. So if somebody wanted to delete the dir alias on PowerShell on another server, and you've got a script that you move over there and it uses dir, well then it's not gonna you're gonna get an error. So you could protect yourself against that by using the commandlet itself. Like I said, I really don't think that's going to happen that often. But all you would have to do is go in there and create the alias again, and you're good to go, right? But of course, when you're at the command line typing interactively like this, and I suppose even when you're scripting, you're going to be much better off with the aliases because it's a lot shorter to type. Right? Now, that means also that if somebody's heavily aliased, if somebody has really, really aliased their environment a lot, their scripts, their code can really start to look pretty alien, because there's going to be practically nothing in it, just a bunch of cryptic hieroglyphics, and every single time you turn around, you're going to have to do a get alias on a command because you're not going to understand what they're calling. And that's something that's going to have to be something that's really going to have to be watched, right? So, creating aliases is good, but for readability, you better take care, or at least if you have a lot of aliases at the top of a script, I would document them at the top of the script, so somebody didn't have to go look every single one of them up, or if they had to recreate them, they could. So, like I said, I'm stepping on the alias video a little bit, but that's an extremely high-level overview of PowerShell, and I think I'm going to stop here because I'm kind of running out of steam on what to talk about next, and I'm just going to start getting into the specific things next. Okay. So anyway, I hope this wasn't too bad, and the next ones will be better.